All right. Okay. So right here, I have. Uh, this is actually my action sequence. Uh, no tag here. This right here. I pulled it from here. It's this skill here. This is the standard fire attack. This is like one of the first attacks that you get in the game. One of the first artillery cards. And as you can see, there's a lot going on here. You're like, whoa, how do you manage to put so much stuff here? What's going on? Well, uh, most of this is are the variations pertaining to the Blavic caster class, this class, and you've noticed I've already made a small edit here because I'm planning on adding the fire attack that I mentioned earlier, and let's see here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and start making some edits. This is my little mini state sheet. Remember, I was showing you guys on the bottom right corner of the screen how little states will pop up. Well, this is the sheet that those images are pulled from, and I just added an image here that shows up. So right now, let's see, what do I want to do right now? Pretty sure I just removed that little defensive thing. So let's go ahead and try to add. Uh, yeah, let's go ahead and try to add that fire attack to Avalo. So I'm going to showcase that. So right now, I need to set this to 2. This is actually part of the code. This line here that is triggered when uh, the middle. Actually, pull this up. After the middle is selected and is flashing. This is the code for it. So I have to modify that right now. Find it. And how I have it working is that uh, when this is selected, it runs a code because what this actually does is this actually applies a state uh, uh, once it's selected, and that state allows the actor to like counter or attack or whatever. That's how the game identifies. Oh, she's supposed to be using this ability because it actually applies a state. And while the state is active, I have a variable uh, turned uh, on, and it's actually this queue here, this game temp artillery queue. That's when this is set to 1. As you can see, 1, 2, 3. There's that represents the number 1, 2, 3. Well, when this is set to 1, when it's turned on, uh, I can have it where I can have some special stuff going on here. So now that and this runs at the very beginning of the action sequence, like before anything happens. And so now, let's see. I'm trying to find where I turn it off so I don't have any glitches. There we go. I think this is it. Set this to 0. All right, so I think this is working. All right, now actually now I actually have to put the move in itself. Animations. Spell projectiles. That's what it's called. Here we go. I need to expand this because I'm going to add a new attack. Let's, it's 192 for the size. So, um, yeah, should have known that. All right. This here. So use this. Take this. Should be right. Okay. Now let's go ahead and take the color here. Yeah, that's the color I want. Save this. Let's take this. Copy. And just leave it. Projectile. And it's 21, 22. So I have my little projectile that she's gonna throw out after she uses the regular Avalo cast. If number two is selected, uh, she's going to do this extra attack here. I'm gonna have to make some edits here. 'Cause normally I have it where she does Blamic Flare. See, what I have for the action sequences is what I do is I have it where with Yanfly's action sequence, when you have a target action, uh, the target action always repeats for how many times you have a like target random three enemy foes. So what it does is it hits the target and then it hits three random foes, and so the maximum amount of targets that are going to be selected is actually four. It's the actual target and then it's three extra, so it's four total. That means this section here, this highlighter here, runs can run a possible uh, it can possibly run four times. So or repeat itself four times at the maximum. However, uh, you can have it where you can run only one or two or three times if you put a break action here. And so how I have it where uh, I want to find the break action, uh, how I want to define that is maybe let's say how do I explain this? Yeah, okay. So basically, I have it where the game counts how many times this is run, and I store it in a variable. So my variable to do that is 81. So at the end of this sequence, 81 goes to 1. And then the game just counts. If she has a certain state, which is applied to the Blava caster, it's actually that the circle I showed you. Let me pull it up. If she has this circle, then this attack sequence will continue beyond the normal count, which is really two. This like if you just a regular class, or you're not using the Blavacaster class, this sequence runs twice and that's it. But because the Blavacaster class has some perks, the maximum times the sequence can run is actually going to be four because she has extra attacks that she adds on to spells. And this is a spell here. And so I have it where if 81 is above two and Zola is not affected by that circle state I showed you, it breaks action. And when you have break action, uh, it terminates the processing. So this actually just jumps straight to here. No matter how many times it was supposed to keep running this sequence, when you have a break action, it just stops altogether and it goes straight to the next sequence, which is the follow action. And so that's how I'm able to have some fancy uh, targeting going on with my action sequences. A lot of people are probably unaware of this, but this can, yeah, this is how you do some fancy targeting with this system. And this is like the bread and butter as far as like class perks and whatnot of what you want to do pertaining to extra attacks. You know, so very straightforward, very solid for just RPG Maker. Like if you're running any kind of action sequence like this, at least with the Yanfly's system. So now I have to have actually, yeah. So now I have to add uh, a third, or rather a this. Uh, yeah. When it comes to creating, 80% of it is problem solving. The other 20% is like creativity. Is what I found when it comes to writing or whatever. On this, so yeah, I'm gonna add another clause that way. If number two isn't selected and number three isn't selected, it's going to break action when this count hits three. So now, two, I'm gonna actually add a lot here. Because before I wasn't planning on having special extra attacks uh, for when the count hits three. So now I actually have to add those clauses because there's two different uh, conditions that this can fall into. So this is going to be two. This is going to be for three. So, all right, so let me go ahead and figure out what animation this is. Right now, I'm working on the part of the animation where she's actually swinging her staff, and so this is it here. Okay, so it's 81. And this looks good. I'm gonna make a version of this. I found that doing this uh, in like a notepad or something like that is much easier than working with this tiny little box here. Usually, I don't really fool with this unless I have to make a super quick edit. But when I'm actually making my action sequences, I go here. So I have maximum control. I can have room to make edits and think about what I want to do and all that stuff. And I recommend this method if you're trying to do something really elaborate with your action sequences. Uh, let's see. What do I want to do? This here is actually Blavic Flare, that huge purple attack that you guys saw. This is the actual sequence here. But now when I add the Blavic Fire, I don't need all of this. This. Yeah, Blavic Fire. I mean, yeah, Blavic Flare is. Shoot, I edited the wrong sequence. But yeah, Blavic Flare is pretty elaborate. It's pretty special. I have a lot of effects going on for it, as you can see here. But Blavic Fire to be a little simpler. So let's just see here. Let's go ahead and edit this. Here we go. All right, so let's see what I'll do here. Ah, that's what that is. Switch this over here, and then I want to add this little projectile.